I am here today with a very, very special guest, an absolutely incredible agent, incredible woman, incredible mom, Brittany Lodi here, and she is going to be filling you guys in on how you can be successful in final expense telesales as well. So Brittany's incredible. She can close deals super fast. She's really consistent every day. She's on the phone just about. She makes sales. So we're going to learn how she does it. And also, at the end of the video, you're going to have the opportunity to click on one of Brittany's live calls and listen to one of her closes, and you'll see just exactly how she's able to form a connection really quickly with clients and take control of the conversation and just make a sale happen. So, Brittany, introduce yourself a little bit, and then we'll get into the questions here.
Hi, my name is Brittany Lodi. How is everybody doing today? I'm a Senior Benefits Coordinator at Senior Life Services.
Awesome, cool. So, Brittany, when you approach, a sale, do you prefer taking live transfers or making outbound calls?
I don't have a preference.
Okay. All right, awesome. So,
It
say you're
is
making an
it
outbound
is
call.
easier. It is easier making the calls because with the leads that we get, it has the information, so we can go off of that when we're starting a conversation or we're getting to know their beneficiary. So it's easier to start that way, as versus the live calls. You're getting age, basics.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. You have more data to work with. So, when
Right.
someone answers the phone, how do you handle that? How do you handle the greeting?
Well, I definitely, introduce myself, make sure that I have that tone. Tone is very important in the beginning. You can't just answer the phone like, yeah, I don't want to be here today. I know you don't want this call either. So you have to, get them excited. You have to be excited. Um, Greet them with excitement. Like, this is exciting news.
Cool. Awesome. And you guys will hear that in her call. She's pretty exciting in the greeting. Now, a lot of people, it's funny because I see in a lot of Facebook groups and comments and emails I get from people on my channel is that they'll be like, man, the leads I bought aren't any good. And they're probably running into those rebuttals in the greeting or objections in the greeting, right? Like, I already have insurance. I took care of it. Not interested. Don't have enough money. I'm busy, whatever the case may be. So how do you well, first off, what's the most popular objection in the greeting that you run into?
I already have that. I've already taken care of that. Me and my husband already have that taken care of. That's the biggest
Okay,
one I
gotcha.
get.
So how do you okay, great. And how do you handle that?
Well, I do let them know that I'd be surprised if they didn't have that taken care of. Congratulations on having that taken care of. But a lot of people that I talk to find this information very, informative. And then I jump
Okay.
into
Then you just kind of
go with the flow.
cool. Yeah, just kind of jump right into it. Guys, it's really important. So what she's saying, and I talk about this a lot on my channel, but I mean, we talk about final expense telesales, right? So like there's only a limited amount of things I can talk about, and the greeting part is very, very important. So you want to make sure that you are handling those objections. And so just treat anytime someone gives you pushback in the greeting as a smokescreen and as it not real. What perspective do you take on those objections when you get a Brittany now as opposed to when you started? Because I know when people start, it's like super frustrating, right? So what's changed?
Well, it's super frustrating. You get really nervous because you're starting out and you're like, oh, maybe they really don't. They already have it, or you believe what they're telling you because you're nervous. But once you realize that they're just telling that because they want to get you off the phone because they've probably had a couple of phone calls throughout the day from other places. Medicaid, Medicare is a big one that they get phone calls through all day. So they just want to get you off the phone. So your job is to just take control of it, give them the information that we have about the company, and try to keep the conversation moving and, bypass the excuses on why they don't want to continue the conversation with you.
For sure. Now, husband and wife, how do you approach that? Because some people have different philosophies. So some agents won't try to sell a husband and wife if they're not both there together. Some people will. Do you kind of I feel like you just wing it and go for it anyway, but
Well, I'm married, So I get both sides, right? I understand well, I'm the wife. I take care of all the financial responsibilities in the house. Me too. So as far as if I think it's something that me and my husband need, I'll go ahead and get mine, give them the information that I can give them on my husband, and then later on bring the husband in to finish up his application. But the majority of the time, a lot of them want to wait for the husband or wife to be present because they make the decisions together. So it really depends on the situation. I try to build
Okay.
does your wife need to be there? Does your husband need to be there? If they don't need to, then keep moving. If they do, schedule the callback when they're both there.
Okay. Will you ask that question a few times, and how do you ask it?
Okay. So I definitely, in the beginning of all my conversations, ask if somebody needs to be present, if they can make their own decisions, everyday decisions and financial decisions, because it's important. Somebody might say they're able to make their own decisions, but then when it comes to financial, they don't make those. So I'm very specific on what I mean by make your own decisions. You know, so
Hmm.
that's another thing. If you can make your own decisions, does your wife touch or wife or husband trust your judgment? And if I'm getting yeses on all of those, well, then we'll keep it going. But if I'm getting a lot of
Cool.
pushback, like when my wife has to be here, and I ask over and over, and that's the same, I'm not going to keep moving forward. Let's just reschedule.
Cool. Awesome. Well, that makes sense. And what's the pick? How many times once you? And another thing too, guys, is like when I started, I was like, oh, I got a call back, and I would get so pumped for the call back, and then like no one would answer, and I'd be like, oh my god. So, how many times do you anticipate having to call them back before they answer?
Well, 3 times every day. I make time out of my
Okay.
day to schedule it. Like we call 3 times. I try to make that a habit every day until I get a hold of the person, or they just flat out answer the phone and give me a reason not to keep calling back.
Okay.
Because at
Cool.
the end of the day, we're here to help them. So if you give me the interest in the beginning, I know you want it. You're just hesitating or procrastinating. So
Yeah.
let's move forward.
So how? I mean, do most people answer right away? Is usually take a couple days. Like,
No.
I'm sure you schedule an appointment, but most people don't answer. So,
Yeah, and that happens a lot. It happens. And a lot of times, too, when they answer, they don't even know who you are or remember the conversation because once they get off the phone with us, they're back into their daily lives and they're going to forget the conversation. So I
yeah.
just look in my notes, make sure you write good notes so you can um, bring up something specific in their life or the conversations you guys had and bring them back to where you were. That's what I find very important. In your notes, make sure you write their dog's name was Annie. Just specifics that you guys had this conversation and they can remember the conversation you had. So you don't have to start all over. You can start from where you ended and then keep it moving.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. You know, one fortunate thing that's helped Brittany practice. I mean, Brittany's exceptional. When she started, she did well. Like pretty much, like she's improved over time, but she hit the ground running. I think in terms of getting conversations going and flowing, and it's rare to see that. So, um, one thing that helps though, guys, if you don't have that natural talkability, conversation, whatever skills with people is having enough leads to work. So here we're fortunate enough where we provide our agents with essentially an unlimited amount of leads to practice on, or you can buy aged leads. You want to buy a high volume of aged leads because if you just start buying new leads and you're not that great at the sales process yet, then you're gonna lose money real quick. So if you would like information on aged leads, just reach out to me. I don't sell them, but I can connect you with someone who does. If you'd like information on working with us, so you don't have to worry about going and buying leads or anything like that, just email me at jve@thejve.com. So jve@thejve.com. Check the link in the description of the video. And yeah, so Brittany, after you get through that, on a lot of your closes that you have, I mean, you close pretty quickly. So how are you able to do that? and push through? And like, how have you modified your process and your sales process to be able to close someone in like less than 15 minutes, or 10
Uh,
less than 10 minutes sometimes?
well, not being biased, but great coaches, great team builder. That's how
Cool.
I'm able to do that. Honestly, when I first started here, training was key. Training was a big thing when I started here. It was important to role play every day, read the script every day, find someone that you could do it with, a coworker that you started with. We would role play even after work. You role play with someone. It helps a lot to know your script. It helps a lot to know when you're in a conversation. The biggest thing is the need. What is it going to do for them? Make sure they have a way to pay every month. And I build on the need a lot because once you know they need it and they're telling you why they need it, you just you're good from there.
Cool. Awesome. So how do you do that? What type of questions do you ask? Yeah. So first, what type of questions do you ask to build the need?
I ask them if they have a current policy in place, and I ask them, or would this be added coverage? If it's added coverage, um, I ask them, how long ago they had the policy. I don't get into detail about the policy that they currently have, but just, how long they got it. Because some people will say, oh, I've had it 20 years. So, it's going to be a big differential price, 20 years ago
Hmm.
versus
Yeah,
now.
for sure.
So I want to get them prepared for that. Um, if this is their first policy, what made them start looking into it, or what prevented them in the past from getting something in place. And then they'll basically just open up and let you know, well, sometimes it's the price, or life just got you know away from me, and I just been busy, wasn't able to do it. Those type of things. I don't want the financial
Okay, cool.
burden on
You,
my
you,
children.
okay, awesome. So you kind of just ask them what they need it for, why they need it, stuff like that.
Right.
Awesome. And then what's the next step? Like after you have the need established, what do you do? How do you go into your presentation? How do you quote? Stuff like that.
Okay. So I definitely do let them know, that we will have a welcome packet sent to them. Once you're getting into that, at that point, you've already, I'm already like, okay, this is a sale, so let's keep it moving. Any
Hmm.
pushback I get from there isn't, I'm not, that's not pushback anymore. That's just nervousness on their part.
Being scared.
They're being scared. So I definitely try, and you try to keep it moving because as soon as you hesitate, the fear gets more for them because this is a commitment. It's like, somebody selling me a house and they start stuttering. I don't know if I want to buy that house or
Hmm.
not. So I
Yeah,
definitely try to
exactly.
keep it a smooth flow. Keep a little bit of laughing and conversation still, not too much because they will take that conversation and run with it. So I try to stay on, the subject, and have them write down the quotes so they can look them over, and I let them know what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up some quotes for you, get you to the right company so you can get all the benefits and for your needs and something that fits your budget. And I have them write them down, and I said, and then we'll discuss them. And then we, discuss
Cool.
them. We talk about is this going to fit your need? Are you going to be able to afford this every month? Because I want to make sure all of my clients are able to keep their policies active because I don't
Yeah,
want to get
for
that
sure. I
phone
mean,
call. That's important to make sure that they keep the policy active.
cool. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, cool. So now, what are the biggest objections that you run into in the most common objections that you run into in the close?
The biggest and probably the 90%, I don't have my account information.
Gotcha. Now, do you think that they really don't, or that it's a trust thing and they're just kind of blowing smoke?
Um, I guess it depends on the conversation and the client. I can't be specific to everybody else in their
Yeah.
situations, but you'll know if it's a trust issue or you'll know if they really don't have it because as an agent, you've been doing this for a little while, you're going to know how to help them find that.
Hmm.
And if they're giving you, well, I need to go to the bank or my daughter has my information, the my daughter has my information, we've already dealt with that in the beginning of this
Yeah.
conversation. So that's where I would know, okay, maybe he's a little iffy about it. Maybe
Yeah.
he's having some trust issues. But if he's generally like, well, I don't really write checks. I throw away my bank statements. Okay, so I can call the bank, or we can, if you work all those angles and they want it, and they're like, listen, just call me tomorrow, and I'll go to the bank. Like you can tell. So I'll give them a call back once you have all their information. And a lot of clients are like, well, here's my social security number. Here's the bank that I bank with, and you got all their information. You pretty much
Yeah.
know.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Like if they already gave you their social and
If
everything,
they've already
because the
given you
call,
like everything you need except for the account number, that's basically
yeah.
how I figure out if this is a serious thing or not.
Yeah, because when I saw face to face, there were some people who didn't. I had to drive them to the bank, because they didn't have that, or their bank statement came in and it's redacted. Like Chase and Bank of America, I think the account numbers are redacted on the it's just a
They
bunch of
are.
X's and it shows the last four. Yeah.
I bank with Chase. That's true. At the right hand corner, there's only like the last four.
Yeah, and the guy that actually the sales call that I have that you guys are going to hear for Brittany, I cut out like 3 minutes of dead space or 4 minutes, but it was it's an 82-year-old gentleman with excuse me with Parkinson's, and he was like, you remember him, right? And you
Yes,
closed that deal in
sweetheart.
like 7 minutes. It was wild. He was
Just
such a nice
sweetheart.
guy, and he
And it
was like,
took him
I'm gonna go look.
forever. Yes. Bless his heart.
It did. And he was like, I'm gonna go look for this now, but I have Parkinson's, so my walking's not the best. And
Take your
so
time.
he
Please
went.
don't fall.
Yeah,
He
for
was a
real. If you
sweetheart.
don't have your
Oh, he
policy in place yet, don't fall, right?
he was a sweetheart. He was so nice. Yes.
He
But
was,
he
and
wanted
then
it. He wanted it bad enough that even
he
with the
did.
Parkinson's and even he realized this was something that he needed. And he literally got up and I was on the phone with him while I was walking and talking to him. Didn't want to distract him. I didn't want, him to fall
Mhm.
or anything like that. But yeah, he got up and got what he needed.
And you know what really closed him on that? Listening to the call. Guys, this is so important. Like, this is something that only comes with time and then just learning your competitors over time. He was like, yeah, well, most of the quotes I got in the mail were like the same price. And then you're like, I mean, any quote that someone gets in the mail at 82 years old is either going to be for a term policy through Globe Life, which I don't even know if they'd still be able to get it at then. But
Right.
if that's he ain't going to qualify, even if that's the case, right? Because he's
Right.
got Parkinson's. Or it's going to be for a guaranteed issue through like Mutual of Omaha or AAA or AARP or something like that, right? So he,
I
it,
believe I was able to get him day one coverage.
you were, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's where, yeah. So he was like, oh, those are similar to what I've seen. And you're like, yeah, but like this one kicks in right away. And he's like, oh, okay. Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's a good point, And then he just, that was like the trigger. For him.
Yeah.
So knowing those things, guys, is important. Knowing about your competitors, know about the other companies, and
For
how your
sure.
products. Yeah, exactly. So what would you recommend people do if they don't have the type of training system that we have here in the structure, and what aside from, hey, come work with us, right? But what would you recommend they do, like if they're like, because I mean, we only take on full-time agents, so it's not for everybody, but what would you recommend that they do if they gotta go practice with someone else or something?
I mean, as far as like getting on the phones and making phone calls their first time with another company.
No. I mean, if they're how can they practice and train if they don't have a system like we have for training? Because some people, it's literally like, here's a contract, here's how you buy leads, figure it out. Maybe we have some videos and stuff online, but in terms of the practicing, should they practice with themselves, practice with a loved one, a friend? What would you
Um,
do if you were in that situation?
well, if I was in that situation and when I first got in, well, I've was never been in that situation. I've always had training. Thank God for
Yeah,
SLS. But um, I would practice with anyone. My kid knows the health part of our script. He's 7 years old.
that's great.
So,
That's
and
awesome.
he knows the script. He hears it. I back and forth with him. Your husband, your wife, your doesn't matter. Anybody that's willing to sit there and just let you feed off of them, absolutely. I think that's the best is to have somebody there
Awesome.
to train with.
Cool. So pick a accountability partner, guys. Now, Brittany, what are some of your goals moving forward? Like what do you want to accomplish for yourself? What do you want to what type of life would you want your insurance career to create for you?
I want a stable life. I think that's important for everyone to have the home with the white picket fence. No.
Yeah.
But to have the home, to have the freedom to say it's summertime. Let me take, 2 weeks off because I've worked so hard. I was able to make that kind of money. And I've put money away. My bills are paid. Let me take a vacation with my family and my kids. Let me relax, Just freedom. No debt. No debt's great.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. And in terms of leads. Now, what are your favorite types of leads to work? Right, I had this on. I forgot to ask this earlier. What are your favorite types of leads to work? Do you like telemarketing or do you like the website leads, which are like
Okay,
social media
so
leads? What?
yeah, they say those. Like I was watching Puss in Boots the other day,
Hmm.
and
Ray?
what was it? The gold. Right, I was thinking of Ray. The golden egg, right?
Hmm.
So we have those inbound web leads, right?
Okay.
I think those are
Yep.
golden because those are people that know what they're calling about. They want the insurance. They saw, the commercial or whatever have you on YouTube or Facebook, wherever they saw it, and they're calling you. So, I love those. But if I had to choose between, like I said, calling somebody or an inbound call, I like to call them because I'm prepared for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
When they're
Cool. Well,
coming
no.
in,
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
yeah, I'm not necessarily prepared. I'm just getting, like I said before, the name, the age, where they're from, and they might say from minimum to maximum or an amount, but when you get the actual lead, you have addresses, you're having emails, you have their first and last name. So I'm prepared for them when I'm calling them.
Awesome. Yeah, that's true. And some agents prefer live transfers. Some agents prefer outbound dials. Those inbound calls from social media are gold, though, guys. If you check out the link in the description of the video, I'm actually going to put another video in there on how you can actually create your own, how to generate inbound calls from ads on social media. So if you don't have those coming to you like we do and provided, there's a way to do it. I figured out how to do it. Just check the video in the description and it'll walk you through. Sometime maybe like the whole Facebook portal is outdated because it changes over time, but the landing page and everything else that you use to generate the call is all the same. So you guys can check that out. But Brittany and I have our morning meeting actually to get to. So
Yes, we
Brittany,
do.
any final I don't want to say last words. Anything you want to say to these people,
Great for final expenses, right?
right?
um, No, I'm just grateful for the company that I work for, grateful for the training, grateful for the people that I work with. I've built a family with them. Like, it's a really great place to work, and I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Great. Well, we're glad to have you here too, Brittany. I know I am. Check the link in the video up here, and this is going to be Brittany's call, where you'll be able to hear her on a live call close a sale in like less than 8 minutes. Some people may say, hey, that was an easy lead. I just say Brittany's a really, really good agent because several agents had called that same guy before her, weren't able to make it happen. So great job, Brittany. We'll see you guys. I appreciate everybody watching here.